How is everyone doing today? And happy Valentine's Day, by the way. I thought it would be a perfect time to talk about using pink noise to get a nice balanced mix. And a lot of videos I've seen, they pitch this method as some kind of like super fast miracle cure. And that's not what it is. It is a good method of getting a balanced mix and a lot of times of getting yourself a good starting point. Pink noise is sort of like the soothing cousin of white noise. And I have a pink noise wave file pulled up right here. It sounds like this. But more importantly, let's look at it on this EQ. So you see it has this nice slope. This kind of follows how our hearing works. So basically treble around here sounds balanced with low end like this loud way over here. That's a crude way of explaining it. So what's important is to focus on the word balanced. Pink noise will help you get a balanced mix, okay? Balanced doesn't necessarily mean good. It doesn't necessarily mean desirable. It means balanced. And you might not want everything to be balanced. You might want a snare to be super loud. You might have some kind of little ambient texture tucked way off into the background. You don't want that balance with everything. So the first time I tried the pink noise technique, the mistake I made was I balanced every single individual track on my project with the pink noise sound. And it made the track like way out of whack. It didn't sound good. So the first thing you got to do is look at what your beat is, look at what the elements are, and determine what you want to be balanced. Basically, like what are the main things on the forefront of the beat and what, if anything, is kind of tucked away into the background. First and foremost, let's just listen to the beat real quick that we're going to be working with. Okay, so we have the pads. I have all my drums in a drum group. And then I have my bass. Right here is the little RP synth. And if you'll notice right here where it says texture, this is just like a little, I don't know, it's like rain and crackle or whatever. That's not something that I want balanced with everything. So I also have this little orchestra swell, little brass swell, and then the vocal sample that says always, always, and the vocal loop. The main elements of this beat are going to be the pads, the drums, the bass, and this lead arp. And, the vocal sample is going to kind of stand out, and so will the swells. But those are also things that are happening sporadically. These pads and drums and bass are also going throughout the whole beat. So this is what you do. You pull your pink noise sample up into your DAW, and this is before mastering, so I don't have any kind of mastering chain on or anything. And make sure it's not warped or stretched or anything. Make sure you're just playing it raw. This pink noise sample I'm including in the description, it hits at 0 dB. So right here, I'm going to turn it down to about -10. This doesn't have to be an exact number. I'd say somewhere between -8 through -12. This is just giving you headroom because essentially we're making a pre-master. Once again, there's nothing on the mastering chain. This is before all that. The next thing I'm going to do is actually go to my mastering chain, and we're going to want to put everything in mono. So I'm going to pull up a utility and put it on the master and just turn this width down to 0. And now I'm going to be hearing my mix in mono. By the way, if you're not in Ableton and you don't know how to listen to your mix in mono in whatever DAW you're using, grab this A1 stereo control by Alex Hilton. It's totally free. And in this case, you would just slap this on your master, and this stereo width knob right here, you would just bring all the way down, and that'll put your mix in mono too. So yeah, and also checking your mix in mono is just a good idea outside of all this. It's like looking at a picture without the Instagram filter, kinda. I've always like thought of it as the better quality picture I upload to Instagram, the better the filters are going to look on that picture. So the better and more exciting you can get your mix in mono when you do hear it in stereo, it's going to sound amazing. I have everything muted but the bass, and we're going to start with it. And also have the bass turned all the way down. We're going to be hearing the pink noise, and it's going to be at a volume of -10 dB. And I'm going to slowly bring the bass up. And what you want to do is be able to barely hear the bass. You want it to barely kind of be sitting on top. I think I read somewhere like a footprint in the snow. That sounded like a pretty good way to put it. So let's hit play, and I'm going to start to bring this bass up. Okay, I can hear that. Around -18, I feel like is where I can barely hear that. And let's try it with the kick drum. I have the kick drum turned all the way down. Oh, I heard it. I'd say right around there, I feel like is where I can barely hear it. And I'm not going to do every single track right now because it does take a minute, and it's sort of an annoying thing to watch somebody else do. So then I went through and did that on my drums. And I do want to add, you should be careful on the hi-hats. Make sure you can barely hear the hi-hats when you do this. And I did it on the pads. I did it on the vocal loop because that's something that's constant in the song. But like I said, I didn't do it on the texture and these like swells and this little vocal sample. I just mixed those by ear. But what I really wanted balanced was the bass and the kick drum and the rest of the drums and the pads. And then that left me with this.